Hello and welcome to the Catholic University Andres Bello, house of the cleverness, creativity, culture, and love for the learnings. Today, we are going to learn about the international law, and we'll be attending class with one of our very best students. Join us, and let's see where the knowledge leads us. I know it doesn't look like the actual university, but I'm trying. You should be grateful. Well, hello guys. My name is Angelis Arazo, and I'm going to be your part-time teacher. As we introduced earlier, we're learning about the international law today, and our first topic is going to be the United Nations. As you may or not already know, the international society has diverse components, and today we're going to speak about some of them. So, as we said earlier, we're going to talk now about the United Nations, which is an intergovernmental organization which task is to promote international cooperation and to create and maintain international order. And this is kind of a replacement for the League of Nations, which came to an ineffectiveness, and it was established on 24 October of 1945 after the World War II, with the aim of preventing another such conflict. With the creation of the United Nations, they were trying to stop this kind of events so that they wouldn't happen again. The headquarters of the United Nations is in Manhattan, New York City, and is subject to extraterritoriality. The organization is financed by assessed and voluntary contributions from its member states. Its objectives include maintaining international peace and security, promoting human rights, fostering social and economic development, protecting the environment, and providing humanitarian and, in case of famine, natural disaster, and armed conflicts. The United Nations is the largest, more familiar, and most internationally represented and most powerful intergovernmental organization in the world. It's very important to say that the United Nations came to its birth thanks to the Charter, and it was drafted at a conference between April and June in 1945 in San Francisco, and it was actually signed on 26 June of 1945 at the conclusion of the conference, and it took effect on 24th October from that same year, and after that day the United Nations became to operation. Its mission is to preserve world peace, and it was complicated because after the United Nations Charter was done, then the Cold War came, and so between the United States and the Soviet Union there were wars, and the organization participated in major actions in Korea and the Congo just to try to also help these situations. After the end of the Cold War, the United Nations took on major military and peacekeeping missions across the world with varying degrees of success. And this only introduces us to what we're going to see now, because the United Nations doesn't work alone. The United Nations is not just one organ, but it has 6 principal organs. First, we have the General Assembly, the Security Council, the Economic and Social Council, the Secretariat, the International Court of Justice, and the Trusteeship Council. These 6 main organs are going to try and come along together with the United Nations just to try to prevent all of these terrible moments that we lived in history, and also it will try to make things better. Actually, when we talk about the International Court of Justice, this is the primary judicial organ not only of the United Nations, but it's also considered the primary judicial organ of the world, like internationally speaking. When it comes to the United Nations, we see Russia, United States, and China. So now, when it comes to the European Union, we say that it's a political and economic union of 28 member states that are located primarily in Europe. It has developed an internal single market through a standardized system of laws that apply in all member states. The European Union policies aim to ensure the free movement of people, goods, services, and capital within the international market, and also the internal market. Enact legislation in justice and home affairs, and maintain common policies on trade, agriculture, fisheries, and regional development. Its origins come from the European Coal and Steel Community and the European Economic Community, established by the 1951 Treaty of Paris and in 1957 Treaty of Rome. The original members of what came to be known as the European Communities were the United States, Belgium, France, Italy, Luxembourg, and the Netherlands, and also West Germany. The communities and its successors have grown in size by the accession of new member states and empowered by the addition of policy area to its remit. While no member states have left the European Union or its predecessors, the United Kingdom signified an intention to leave after a membership referendum in June 2016 and is negotiating its withdrawal. And when it comes to the European Union, we see Belgium, Lithuania, and Austria. Now, when it comes to the Commonwealth of Nations, and sometimes it's only called Commonwealth, it is a intergovernmental organization that has 53 member states that are mostly former territories of the British Empire. The chief institution of the organization are the Commonwealth Secretariat, which focuses on the intergovernmental aspects, and the Commonwealth Foundation, which focuses on the non-governmental relations between member states. It dates back to the first half of the 20th century, with the decolonization of the British Empire through increased self-governance of its territories. It was originally created as the British Commonwealth of Nations, and through the Balfour Declaration of the 1926 Imperial Conference, and formalized by United Kingdom through the Statute of Westminster in 1931. The current Commonwealth of Nations was formally constituted by the London Declaration in 1949, which modernized the community and established the member states as free and equal. The symbol of this free association is Queen Elizabeth II, who is the head of the Commonwealth. And actually, this figure of the Commonwealth of Nations was first trying to get the countries to be together, was trying to make the countries bond because of their cultural and linguistic even interests, and this is very important because when we talk about the history, as we said earlier, the Queen Elizabeth II in her address to Canada pointed out that the Confederation of Canada had been the birth of the first independent country within the British Empire in 1959, and this has also started the movement to create the Commonwealth of Nations, starting with the Commonwealth Charter and promoted by the quadrennial Commonwealth Games. Now we see that the Commonwealth applies not only to the UK, but it also has a lot of countries, as we see, for example, Sri Lanka, Singapore, and India. When it comes to